Welcome to Ask the Professor. I'm your host, Professor Ben, and we get together live every Wednesday at 11:45 Eastern so that we can talk about all things business, sales, influence, leadership, all those things that just challenge us as we try to win at business every week. And today we are joined by Ari, our producer extraordinaire. Ari, thank you for always putting all this together for us. And we have a first-time guest, Max Kent, top sales professional, procurement expert, and the founder of Procure Service Limited. Max, it is such an honor to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us today.
Absolute pleasure, Ben. Hi, Ari, as well. Great to meet you. Really delighted to be on the show today.
Big things, man, because we're covering everything about sales while you are on the show. We are leveraging your experience in both sales and procurement, which, of course, are tied together very, very closely, right? They have to live with each other, whether they like it or not. So it's an important part of business. And this is perfect timing because everyone listening to the show right now is coming up to a new slate, right? The new year's coming up. We've got new goals. We're hopefully wrapping up an amazing 2025, and sales leaders and sales teams are looking at 2026 and saying, what big things can we accomplish today? So let's talk about sales. Let's get in the weeds on sales so we can help them prep for 2026. Does that sound like a good plan, Max?
Yeah, let's do it. Can't wait.
And there's so many things so many places that we can start. You and I were brainstorming on different topics. Where do we go with this? And I think you're coming off of kind of like a trade show and event tour. Of course, you do a lot of networking on LinkedIn and in the real world as well. And you've had all kinds of trade shows coming up. So let's start there. Let's start with trade shows.
Yeah,
because salespeople go there. We spend tons of money on them, and we're supposed to get leads and get an ROI on that. How do we do that?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, great place to start. Where it's conference season, or just has been conference season. October, November in the UK there's a lot of the sales conferences and business conferences. There's a major conference that I attend in October with one of my partners. So yeah, it's a real busy season for that kind of thing that we're just coming out of. But I think one of the things I came out of thinking was something along the lines of trade show-itis, which is basically what happens when everyone goes to a trade show. They all turn into the decision maker. They all turn into someone with budget. They all turn into someone who's really interested in buying your product, and it's not the real world. So how do you get around that? And I think that was where I was going with this topic. Sort of every single person seems, you have this conversation. They're all ready to buy. They're all ready to sign up, but you spend a lot of time following up and very rarely get any ROI out of those leads, and so I think that's the conversation. So my question to you is how do you counter for that? How do you factor in the fact that you're probably going to convert 5% of the leads you get, if best?
Yeah, that would be a good conversion, right? Unless you really have a solid plan there. And when you were saying if everyone turns into the buyer, everyone turns into the decision maker, I was thinking, yeah, and then when the trade show's over, they all turn into a pumpkin, right? Like you can't get a hold of them.
They disappear.
They won't return your calls, but they were so excited. Excited. I always give the analogy of it's like falling in love on vacation, right? You meet somebody on vacation and everyone just, you fall in love and you get back to the real world and you all forget about each other completely. That's what happens at trade shows. shows.
Yeah.
So let's look at this as a strategy. We're spending, typically a trade show, $10,000 more, right? Depends where you are, like what booth you have and how large of a trade show it is. And you're spending it's a serious investment. So we've got to make sure that we are connecting with as many people as possible and that we're connecting with a plan, right? Because to your point, Max, if we're just nodding yes and everyone's excited and this sounds amazing, I definitely will call you next week. Like we know that's not going to turn out the way that needs to turn out. So one of the things that we want to do is find as many people that are going to be potentially in our space, right? Make sure we're speaking to the right people. And, you might look at that as like a connection and a compliment, right? So there's so many different networking kind of rules of thumb or hacks that you can use. But bottom line is build rapport, talk to people. They spent a lot of money to be there too. So they likely want to have conversations. So have those conversations. And then you got to get to the point where you're talking shop, right? You're talking business. You're trying to feel out, is this my ideal client profile, right? Is this my ICP? Is this somebody that could benefit from the solution that I'm offering? So those conversations have to get into that stage too. Like, is there actually a fit? And if there's not, it's okay. You made a new friend, a new LinkedIn connection, maybe you exchange cards, but don't put that in your bucket list of people you're going to be calling, because it's just not an ICP.
So you're much stricter to qualify out, basically. Then
You got to qualify out. You got to qualify out. You're wasting their time and your time otherwise, if you don't qualify out. And if they are qualified, now we know we got to move on to stage 3, and that is really like I call it the sounds like stage, right? So you may say something like, it sounds like this could be a fit, or it sounds like we could really help, or it sounds like this is similar to another project where we had great results. So that sounds like step is the funnel to go from, hey, it was nice meeting you, to we should be talking business.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So you're taking them through the steps of a sales call in a faster process, because obviously they've just turned up to your stand. So you're actually taking them through the steps, qualifying them on the fly, really. So you've got to have your sales process really nailed down, because it's so easy to just fall back into this, it's nice to see people on the stand and the stand looks busy. So I'm going to waste half an hour talking to this person because, it looks good. Then you're never going to get anywhere. It's just a waste of time. And like you said, you spent 10 grand on a stand. Your business is not going to be that happy if you come back and say, we got 50 leads, and then 3 weeks time, 4 weeks time, there's no meetings in the diary and it's turned into nothing.
Absolutely. And that happens so often, right? So often. So when we get to that sounds like stage and we get some head nods, okay, here's the part that is going to help change everything for those salespeople listening and the ones that are coming back with their tail between their legs because they haven't booked anything, right? So Max and Ari, I think you guys know the answer to this question. If you're talking to somebody or a group of people and you pull out your phone, what do they do naturally?
I would
pull out the phone as well.
Phone too.
They pull out their phone, right? Yeah, but they're all like, "Oh, I got to say this live on what do I do?" So they pull out their phone too. So once you go through the sounds like stage, and there is a fit, there is value to you speaking with this person, pull your phone out right then and there, and set up the invitation. Same process that you would normally set up, that you would do on a call or any other opportunity where you're trying to get somebody to book with you, and just schedule it right there, right? Max, I'm going to steal your word, trade show-itis, because if you don't do that, you're going to be hunting them down, trying to chase them, and probably to no avail, right? So schedule it right then and there, so you have it in the diary or in the schedule for a week after the event or whenever it is, so that now you've got a set time. And whenever I have this conversation with salespeople, they're always like, really? Like, I got to try to do that? And once they do it, they realize how easy it is, right? You put it out like, you know what? Let's take a look. We probably don't want to meet when, that first couple of days when we get back from this event, but let's set something up on this day or this day. What's better for you? And most of the time they're going to comply, or they're going to qualify out and say, let me think about it. And you're not wasting anybody's time.
Okay, question for you then. So there's lots of tools out there like Calendly and booking tools, things that will speed up time for booking people in, rather than let me just flip my laptop open and I'll get my diary out. And you haven't got that sort of time on the trade sheet. I've had a lot of times when I've had a queue of people waiting to speak to me. So that who's next. So you just need a quick system to be able to get that meeting in the diary. Go, look, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Very sorry, but I need to move on to the next person, and sort of get through people in those busy periods. What's your advice there?
Yeah, so Calendly is a cool software, and it is a great way, in my opinion, it is a great way to book appointments that have already paid, right? They're already a customer, they've paid for their service, and it's the easiest way for them to get on your calendar. If you're trying to funnel somebody into scheduling that initial demo or that first call, we're leaving it up to chance if we say, here's my Calendly link, and just hope and pray that they click it and find a date and get on there. Now, I'm not saying it never works, but when you've got the right person right there, you're talking to them, you're face to face with them, go ahead and put them on your calendar. And to your point, I think you're right, Max, big time. Like, it gets busy. You might have a line of people. And that's why that stage about qualifying is so important. If it's not the right person, move on, move on, move on. When you get to the right person, nothing else matters. You got one in the hand, right? Don't worry about the line of birds that are in the bush behind you. Go ahead and book that appointment, because that's your ideal client profile. You've already qualified out everybody else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love that.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but our comments are blowing up, and we have a question from the audience.
Let's jump in. Let's jump in.
So, are live events being undercooked in the sales environment, highlighting the power of you over and above any products or services you might have to offer?
Ooh, so Max, I'm gonna let you jump in and take a look at that and see what you think. And that's from
Alex.
Oh yeah, Alex. Awesome. Go to Alex.
Alex, thanks, Alex. Nice to see you in the chat. So, are live events being undercooked in the sales environment? Highlight the power of you. So, what is this sort of saying, that the person who's doing the sales overcooks the actual service, so it becomes about the salesperson more than the product or the service? Live events, I suppose it depends on the live event you're actually running. So if you're doing a product demonstration, then yes, it is about the product, and it shouldn't be about you. So a lot of the time when I've been involved in those kind of product demonstration webinars, it's more of a screen share. You could almost be camera off. So it is less about you. Your face isn't even on there, and it's talking about the product. So that's front and center. So that's probably how I would run a live product demonstration. If it's a live event where you're trying to get your personality across, then you probably do want to make it about you. And that's why certain, salespeople with personalities and sort of the ability to talk over products, it may be more about them. I think it really depends on the product or service that you're actually trying to sell. And if it is more about you, if it's coaching, for example, you want it to be about you. You want your personality to shine through, and you've only got this screen, this box to kind of shine through. So you've got, your personality needs to sort of shine out through that. Whether it's undercooked or not, I think it depends on the person doing it and how their personality comes across in that particular live environment. I don't know if you'd add anything to that, Ben.
Yeah, I would agree with what you're saying about, it's kind of like a scale or like a dial, right? Like sometimes you need less of the personality and more of the solution. Depends on several factors. Sometimes you need that personality to really connect. And then let's think about the difference between a live event. So Alex, this is a great question. Difference between a live event and a recording, right? Some people might prefer to watch a recording because it's just easier, maybe less pressure. You can pause it whenever you want. But there's something about the live and the human interaction that you can't get anywhere else, right? Whether it's live in person or live virtually, there's that human connection that, for example, AI will never be able to replicate, right? There's something about that salesperson that I connected with, and I feel like I can trust him or her, or at least I know I can go back to him or her with questions. There's always that relationship that's so valuable in the buying process, not just the sales process, but the buying process. So we do want to keep that front and center. To Alex's point and to Max's point, does it need to be all about the salesperson? Probably not all about the salesperson, but does it need to be only the product and zero human to human connection? I would argue no, that zero is probably too low. We got to be greater than zero when it comes to that human relationship.
Such great insight. Thank you, Alex, for asking the question. And thank you, Ben and Max, for giving your point of views and insights.
Ari, isn't that why you pay us the big bucks? Like, I think we have to answer the questions. Max is like, we're getting paid for this? No, Max. Oh my gosh. But great question though. And this, again, think of the trade show-itis, Max. You need a t-shirt to wear, like, at the trade show when you're packing up and heading back to the airport. Like, are you suffering from trade show-itis? There's that human connection that is important.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
That's an important part of how that works out.
Absolutely.
And I think that this kind of ties down to like a sales process. And you hit the nail on the head when you said, like, we're having a conversation with somebody at a trade show, and it has to feel authentic. It has to be authentic. It has to be real. And it doesn't mean it's not structured. It doesn't mean you don't have a plan, that you're moving from one step to the next and you're disqualifying or qualifying when to move to that next stage.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, you people will try and build rapport with you as well, because I think that's another symptom of trade show-itis, is that they're suddenly your friend immediately. So the rapport buildings, you feel like you can build rapport with everyone immediately because everyone's trying to connect because they're at a trade show.
Yes.
But that means they'll talk about anything. So you could spend an hour on a stand talking to someone about the football, or talking about music or something else that's common ground. You've got to try and get them back to the point of why you're there. So yeah, build rapport, talk about some of those things, but get them back to the objective of what it is you're there for. And then, as you said, get that meeting in the diary. So I think you always have that objective in mind of what it actually is that you're booking them in for, and give them value for that. So they actually, when they see that meeting in the calendar 3 weeks later or whenever you booked it, they go, yeah, I remember exactly who that was, and I'm really looking forward to that call. Would you suggest sending a email in between or something to give an agenda for the call, just as a reminder, make sure they're ready for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to get the invite, right? And Max, you just made me think of so many awesome points that you're making here. So you're going to send the invite. So they'll see that right away. Let's get them to hit accept, obviously. And yes, some sort of follow-up email that you would be able to reconnect with them. And the thing you made me think of the most is in all sales, right? Every person that you're working with, whether it's in sales or leadership, the only thing they care about is WIFM, right? WIFM, what's in it for me? So you do have to make them excited about coming to that meeting. And the only way to do that is if it's very clear to them what's going to be in it for them by having this meeting, right? What's the value to my business? What problem are you going to help me get rid of or potentially help me? And that needs to be front and center. Otherwise, as the energy drops, they're going to see that invite and go, I don't know what got over me when I was in the trade show, and I'm not going to show up for that meeting.
Yeah, there you go. Reality kicks in, and they could easily cancel. I can't even remember what that. I spoke to that guy, and there's a meeting in the diary. I can't remember what that was about. Cancel.
Yeah, cancel. Get out of here. How do I get out of this? So you painted this picture, Max, of standing at the trade show stand, right, the booth, and somebody is talking. Did I freeze, or are we okay?
I think we're okay.
Okay, good.
Max may be frozen.
Maybe Max did. It's okay. That's part of being live. It's just part of it. So we're standing at the trade show booth and having this conversation for 15, 20, 25 minutes. And it just keeps going on and on. And let's take this from the founder's perspective or the sales leader's perspective, right? We know this is coming out of our budget. We're spending real money to be at these trade shows. So as a sales leader, it is your responsibility to prep your team to avoid these pitfalls that Max is talking about, right? We've got to make sure we pull the team together, have our formula, our funnel into conversations. Let's qualify out, Sari. Let's schedule appointments when they are qualified. Prep your team for this plan. Otherwise, your blood's going to be boiling when you watch one of your sales team members have a 30-minute conversation with somebody about the football game, right? Like, no one wins when that's happening.
Yeah.
Except for the football that eventually won the game.
You know what? That is a good point. Somebody won. Somebody got millions of dollars, and we're stuck paying our trade show bill. It's not a good place.
No.
And then the other thing, Max, you made me think of is the email follow-up, right? So again, we need to have a process for that email follow-up. We don't want it to be like, hey, just thinking about you or just looking forward to our meeting. There's got to be a connection in there. And ideally, that email starts with whatever the takeaway was from the conversation that you had with that person even if it was football, right? Something that says, that's right, I did talk to that Max guy, and he was a nice guy. We had a great conversation. So start your email off with that. It's your first step. Second step is that what's in it for me component. A great phrase people love hearing is, hey, I was thinking about you, right? So this second part of the email should be, hey, I was thinking about you on the way home, and whatever their value is, whatever the solution is, maybe something great that they accomplished that really inspired you. Let them know you were thinking about them as a person, right? Super important. And then that last part is that clear ask. If you haven't already scheduled a meeting, now's your chance to do that. If you want them to invite somebody else at the meeting, if you want them to bring some data with them to the meeting, now is the chance to have that solid ask. So have a formula, have a plan for your conversations and for your follow-ups. So important.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, and having been a sales leader with lots of people on a busy stand, and you think they're having a good conversations, you can easily come away with and you ask them what the pipeline is, and we've all got 25 leads each. Show me the calendar. There's nothing in it.
Yeah, that's what we have to avoid, Max. That is exactly what we have to avoid. And I'm watching our time here, which is time flies when we're having fun. Max, you're awesome to be on our show. Thank you for being here. We are past time, which means we got to go. So I'm going to ask you live, where everybody's watching, can we get you back on the show again to continue this conversation?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's much more to talk about. Love to. So,
that would be awesome.
Barely scratched the surface, haven't we?
So when we get back, sorry, Ari, go ahead.
I was like, we have so much to talk about. I'm looking at our little agenda. I'm like, man, there's so many good insights that we can cover here.
I think we got
so
past
much.
point one, didn't we? So
maybe towards one. So when we come back, for our audience's sake, so they know what to expect, Max, let's take this trade show conversation and this process and this funnel, and let's move that to our demos and our sales meetings. And just because there's so many options out there, there's like MedPick, there's spin selling, there's challenger sale. I mean, just to name a fraction of them. Let's dig into those sales models for the audience and just talk about the pros and the cons and just the big picture of what sales professionals need to do in 2026 to have a solid sales process that they can refine, improve, and scale. Is that a good place to go?
Yeah, sounds perfect. Let's unpick all of those.
That is awesome. Ari, any other comments that we need to? I know there's a lot of it. Any other ones that we got to get to, or maybe we can get to them in the next show? How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Great comments on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So appreciate the audience for hanging tight with us. We will see you next. Oh, Ari, we will not see them next week.
Yes, this is our last episode for 2025. I forgot to say that.
Me too. I was so excited about everything we've been talking about. I'm like, let's just do it again Christmas Eve. Why not? So we want Max, you down for that?
Maybe maybe.
maybe not. So we will see. Ari, when do we see everybody again?
We will see everyone again on January 7th.
Ooh, okay.
Perfect. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
That sounds great. Thank you guys. Have great holidays, and let's make 2026 an amazing year. See you then.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Max.